Good afternoon from Clyneshire. I've been called in from the fields to perform an important task. You see, we promised a video on the pickling of scapes here at the tail end of our scape season. And I thought, it's really hot out there. I think I am going to come on in and film this video because I'd rather do that than be out in the field hoeing. All right, what are we doing, Rosemary?
All right, first things first, I am taking and gathering my scapes and putting all the flower heads together.
Hold on one moment. First of all, just in case somebody hasn't watched the video, what are scapes?
Scapes? They're the flower of the garlic.
They're the flower of the garlic. Cool.
So.
And we are in scape season, right?
Yes, we are in scape season.
A lot of them went to wholesale.
And now we're at the end and we're processing our own for our own personal use.
I mean, we have a little bit more if anybody wants to order at clyneshire.com. But mainly this is a video for the folks who did order from us already and are wondering what to do with the package of scapes they got in the mail. So, you're doing what?
I'm taking and gathering the scapes into a bunch with all the heads or the flowers gathered together, and then I take my nice big sharp knife and cut the flowers off, and then we will take the rest of the scape, and in a moment here we have jars almost ready. We'll start packing jars. Here, let's see.
Why are you cutting the tips off?
They are tough and they're not the nice tender part of the scape that you want to use. So this is what we keep right there, and this we toss.
So what are you putting in the jar?
So I am putting in ground mustard. People can put different things in, but what we like a tangy pickled scape. So I do mustard, and then I take peppercorns. And pretty much that's what I use with a pickling brine. Some people like to put sugar or some sort of sweetener. That's not my preference. This is how I like my pickled things.
So you do this for pretty much everything that we pickle?
For most things that we pickle, yes. The one exception is the pickled beets, because we put cloves in them as well.
Well, maybe the other exception is for other pickled things you put a clove of garlic in.
Or dill for pickles.
Why don't you put a clove of garlic in this one?
Haha, really funny. We could pickle garlic if you wanted to.
How many do you put in each jar?
7 or so.
Okay.
Depends. Now we need to pack them in.
Well, this is the trick.
This is.
Describe what you're doing here.
So I'm grabbing bunches. It's been a while since I packed these, so we'll see how well this goes actually. But you're trying to basically get these to sit around the edge of the jar in these nice rounds. You take little bunches and keep putting them in the jar.
If you do this, you can fit a lot in a jar.
If you do it right.
If you don't do this, you can have pretty empty really jars.
Quick, and then you just got mostly brine.
So why are you using wide mouth jars?
We learned that it's very hard to pack scapes into narrow mouth. You lose your knuckles.
It can be done if you don't have enough wide mouth jars. We know that from experience too.
But it's much easier if you use wide mouth jars to pickle scapes. So we prefer it. This is pretty full. We like ours very full. So you can see we even stick them in the middle there.
Nice. Well, I don't know if I'm properly credentialed, but you're going to make me do this anyway?
Yep.
No slacking?
No slacking. Everybody who wants to eat from this stuff.
Around here, if you want to eat, you work. Right?
Yes.
Yes. Well, where's your work? What are you doing?
Sitting there.
I don't think that's work.
That's a sitting tonight.
You guys are chowing on each other?
Well, we nearly have the first batch ready here. and it's time to put together the pickling brine.
So for my pickling brine, we are doing 18 quarts of scapes. And roughly, you need about 2 cups of liquid per quart. So obviously I have a big batch, so you have to break it down from that. But what I pretty much do is about 16 cups of vinegar.
And that's our own apple cider vinegar, isn't
Yeah,
it?
this is our own apple cider vinegar to 20 cups of water. And then that will have 1.5 cups of pickling salt added to it. So if you see, you can come over here. This is half the vinegar is half white, and then half of it is our own apple cider vinegar.
And part of that is I don't really know the acidity of ours, so it's a bit
Also, it gives it a different flavor to use apple cider vinegar.
sort of sweet, right?
Yeah, it gives it that nice little tang. Not too sweet, remember? I don't like sweet.
Well, that's why we do some of the white store vinegar too.
True.
And salt.
And yeah, so this is, like I said, about 20 cups of water here and 16 cups of vinegar, 8 being apple cider vinegar, 8 being white, and then 1.5 cups of pickling salt.
And you're just stirring that in.
Just getting it so that it's warmed up and dissolve that salt. And then this will be poured right into the packed jars of scapes.
Alright. Well, I've been tasked with cutting up some more because apparently we can pack a lot in the jars. We, for a couple years we sold these too because Wisconsin has a, what is it called, the pickle law, I think, where you can sell directly out of your home locally. Thank you. But the fact is, we had to scale back some of those things. We simply can't do everything. And something we've discovered as we try to make money off of our venture is we need to choose those parts of the venture which bring in income and that we can fit into our own schedule. And I had thought that scaling up something that we do for ourselves would accomplish that, but the fact is we weren't selling enough, and we were tired at the end of the day, and usually this is something that we do at the end of the day, and it just was it was becoming a hassle. So I apologize to anybody watching who used to buy scapes, pickled scapes from us, but that's one part of the enterprise that we've left behind. They do make good Christmas presents, though, so my brother, who always asks for them, oh, don't worry, there will be scapes at Christmas, I promise.
Alright, ready?
For those who don't know, this is called water bath canning. It works for anything that you're going to can that has acidity to it. And obviously, because we're adding this brine, the pickled scapes count. Really anything pickled. The difference between water bath canning and pressure canning is that with water bath canning, all you're doing is you're boiling it and the temperature rises to 200 and some degrees. For things which do not have high acidity, you have to pressure can. And the difference there is that you use a pressure canner, and because of the pressure you can raise the temperature quite a bit higher, and all the bacteria in the jars gets killed. You see, for this it's not that big a matter because of the acidity. Did I get that right, Rosemary?
I believe so. I'm not listening because I have to not burn myself.
Can you walk, talk, and chew gum?
Not usually.
Yeah, so you better concentrate on that. Oh, that was really, really good. Look at this. Rosemary measures so accurately that with 18 quarts, that's all that's left, and she's going to fit it in. Me, I do everything just by sight, and I always end up with a little bit too little or a little bit too much. But this is I guess what weights and measures are about. Maybe I ought to consider that, huh?
Yep. Good.
Put it on tight, and it's not over the edge of it. It shouldn't be a problem. Here, where are the rings?
They're over there. You want to put the rings on then?
So what role does canning play in our homestead?
But roll.
Yeah.
It's one of the way we preserve food to have for later in the year, so that we're not just eating things in season, but we can have treats and feed ourselves through the cold winter months.
Obviously, we can more than pickled scapes. Pickled beans, pickled cucumbers, obviously.
Pickles, dill pickles is a big one.
Uh-huh.
Beets is the other one.
Yeah,
we
pickled beets.
pickled summer squash and zucchini.
Yeah, and that's with a little jalapeno in there as a relish.
That's a
That's a
fun,
good one.
tasty treat.
For the adults.
Yeah, the kids aren't as fun.
That's how I keep it for myself. I add a little spice to it, and the kids don't eat it all on me.
I don't know though. We may get some that get interested in the spice.
We'll see, I guess. I don't know if you can see, but some of these lids are obviously used. To be honest, they're good for 3 uses unless they get bent.
Unless they get bent, that's the big
Yeah,
thing.
you
Or
always have to
rusty or
wash them.
something like that. Sometimes lids get rusty.
This was an issue during the pandemic because there was a shortage, and there were a couple unscrupulous companies that put some lids on the market. I got some that came from China just out of desperation, and
Trying to get something.
they were terrible.
Junk.
Half of the time they didn't seal. Is there another one?
Yeah.
So apparently the name brands know what they're doing.
Because there's work.
That all of them?
Yep.
Well, good. So these are going to go back in the water bath canners.
Mhm.
How long do you boil them for?
Oh, what is it for the quartz?
get
You
it
put
up-
me on the
you
spot.
get it up
I gotta
to
think
a
about this.
rolling
I
boil.
don't know.
I mean, we don't measure.
We don't measure.
that.
Basically, I think what I typically have done is at least 20 minutes boiling time for quartz.
And that's after
Pints.
it's gotten up to boiling.
Yeah, it's like
again.
actual boiling.
And the important thing is if you don't do it long enough, it doesn't boil in the jar, and then it doesn't suck as it cools, and you don't get that suction and the tight seal at the top. So you do want to do it long enough that you end up killing some of the bacteria inside, and you get the suction in order to create the seal. That's basically what you do.
Into the pot they go.
Whoops. It's not gonna go over on the floor, is it?
Is it hot? Oh, really full?
It's pretty full, but I think it'll be fine.
Ready? Last one. Get it?
Nope, you're gonna have to get that.
There we go.
There we go. Put the lids on, bring those up to a boil.
Alright. So Franz is out in the field, still working on hoeing and all that lovely hard work he does out there. And these pots on the stove have been boiling for a while now. I went out and worked in my garden for a bit. But now it's time to come in and check the progress here. And also start making supper. So, these have been boiling for a while. They should have boiled long enough now. What we like to do is just set them up like this for a bit. I'm going to turn off the water. Let's see. My pans. And now what we're going to watch and listen for is the pop as they start sealing. Oh my goodness, that's heavy. Who says you need to work out when you live on a farm? So Franz has set me the task of trying to video a jar as it seals and it goes pop. That's a hard thing to do because some pop really quickly and then some take a while. Probably especially because we reuse lids. Sometimes they take a little bit longer to seal. I can't video while making supper a jar tinging. Too much.
So I guess that's my job. Do we want to get a ting in this video? Let's see if we can do it. Should we do that, you guys? Should we get a ting in this video?
We should eat supper. No, we should eat supper first.
We should eat supper first?
Supper's good.
All right. It's on.
You're on camera.
Oh, we caught it.
You got one thing.
Did I catch a ting?
Yep.
One thing.
Was it loud enough?
Well, you guys were quieter.
Oh, we caught it. Oh, we caught it. Oh, we caught it.
So that concludes the video on pickling garlic scapes. I hope it was helpful. Enjoy your scapes, everybody who ordered from us, everybody who's growing them in their own gardens. Have a good evening. God bless.
Can I take
Bye.
out the milk?